Hi there, Omar. Let's take a look at this new set of essays you've sent us. Okay, this is the one about spending a lot of money on tickets. Let's see what you said. Okay, experts throughout the developing and developed world have debated whether people should buy expensive tickets to expend sport matches or artistic affairs. I personally believe that athletes and artists should be paid well, and I agree that their ticket price should be high. This essay will discuss both views using examples to demonstrate points and support arguments. Okay, I'm a little concerned about your position here. You say that athletes and artists should be paid well, and I agree their ticket price should be high. Okay, that's fine, but is that what the essay question actually asked you? So, as an examiner reading this would kind of raise an alarm for me. It'd be kind of like a red flag, because my concern then becomes, well, maybe this is how you're going to develop your essay, and not actually what you're supposed to be saying, which is something different. It's whether people should spend money on these things, not whether the ticket prices should be high, but whether people actually should, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing for people to do this. Okay, so anyway, like I said, this does raise something of a red flag for me, but let's see if that's actually how you developed your essay. On the one hand, some experts think that people are purchasing unnecessarily expensive tickets for entertainment activities such as football matches or musical theaters. Theater, full without the S. This is because they believe that the public should spend their money wisely and cut expenses on pleasurable activities. For example, if they save the money that is allocated for entertaining expenses, entertainment, not entertaining, because that's as if the expenses are entertaining. The expenses entertain them, which they don't. You want to say entertainment expenses has a different meaning. They could use this money on more important things such as charity or education. Consequently, there would be substantial benefits to the society if people refrained, that should be honestly an ED here, from buying expensive tickets. Okay. You did what you're supposed to do. You didn't do what I was worried you might do. You talked about this idea of spending money. My concern is your treatment of it, the way you keep talking about some experts say this, they say this, etc., etc. I want you to remember that this is a to what extent do you support this development. So in these, you have to present, even when it's the opposite side of you have to present it as your opinion. What do I mean? I mean, it's not a discuss both views essay. If that were the case, then this kind of language, some experts, they, etc., etc., it would be okay. But when it's actually an essay where they want your opinion, and it says, to what extent do you support this development, you need to be talking about this as if it's your opinion, okay? So the treatment of this has to be a little different, because they never ask you what other people think. They want to know what you think. So you could say this, you could still say the same things, but you just have to change around a few things. For example, on the one hand, there is some validity to the idea that it is unnecessary to purchase expensive tickets, etc., etc. So do you see, you're presenting it as your opinion, where you're showing that, you know what, I have a broad enough mind and I'm open-minded enough to see that, yeah, there is some validity to the other opinion. Okay, so if you had done that, you would have been okay. All right, so let's move on and see about the next paragraph. On the other hand, there is ample evidence that countries that organize sport competitions and cultural ceremonies for extra charge have better cultural scene. Careful. This whole point here is awkward. How about that organized sports competitions and cultural ceremonies that are costly have a better cultural scene? That works a little better. This is due to the fact that when artists and sportsmen are appreciated financially, they bring their best to entertain people. To illustrate this, the Kuwaiti government opened the largest cultural center in the Middle East 5 years ago, and the admissions fees for its events are overpriced. This in turn opened the door for national and international bands, singers, and other artists to come to perform in the country. Despite the high price, the tickets are usually sold out in every concert, and more people, especially, you need an E here, the youth, are becoming interested in arts. Therefore, organizing expensive cultural shows could increase the artistic sense of the society. Oh, that's nicely done. Good job. I like that. To conclude from the argument and examples given, I firmly believe that although some experts are against purchasing expensive tickets, again, remember, we don't care what some experts think. So you want to present it again as your opinion. So although there are some negative associated with purchasing expensive tickets for amusing events. I don't really like this word amusing. Amusing is ha-ha, funny, things that make you laugh. And this isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about sports and different sort of, like performance events. There is evidence that this would enrich the cultural and intellectual, not the theme. You want to say something else. The cultural and intellectual level of the nation. What else could you say? What's another good word here? The scene, perhaps, the cultural and intellectual scene. Maybe that would be okay. It is predicted that the number of high-class cultural events will increase in the future. Okay, fine. Yeah, I liked it overall. I told you what I thought some of the negatives were and what some of the issues were. It wasn't anything really serious, but since you're writing at a very high level, you really are. I mean, your grammar is very good. You had a couple of lexical mistakes, but nothing really, really serious. You had a lot of good examples of vocabulary. So I don't think that the few mistakes you had really detract from the positives. But I want you to be careful with how you answer these questions, okay? Like I said, they didn't ask you to discuss both views. They were essentially asking you for your view throughout the essay. I absolutely agree that a concession paragraph is a really wonderful way to do this. It does show, like I said before, how broad-minded you are and so forth. But you also have to deal with it the right way and show that you see the validity in this. You don't really care what other people think. So let's move on to your task 1. All right, so let's read your letter about the awful restaurant. Here's what you said. Dear Sir, Madam, I'm writing to complain about an incident that happened during my experience in Nino's restaurant. Last week I had dinner in your restaurant. Well, it's probably at your restaurant, really. But I was completely unsatisfied. Okay, I'm tempted to change this to dissatisfied, which has a little bit of a stronger meaning, and I think it fits here better with the completely. I would like you to do something about this. I visited your restaurant for the first time last week because of the positive reviews in Google. Okay, first I ordered my favorite dish for the main course, which was chicken Alfredo, but I was served with another order. And when I asked the waiter to bring my order instead, it took 1 hour to prepare it. Second, after I finally received my food, the taste was unacceptable. However, when I complained to the waiter, he said that he cannot do anything about it in a very inappropriate way and refused to offer me an alternative meal. While I enjoyed the music and the atmosphere of the restaurant, neither the food quality nor the staff attitude was satisfying. I could easily say that my dining experience at Nino's was horrible. I therefore suggest that I be given a full refund. Okay, good. One problem. You started your letter, Dear Sir, Madam, and so that means you have to end it with yours faithfully. It's just one of those conventions of letter writing when we're writing a formal letter and we don't know the name of the person we're writing to. So that's something you need to work on a little bit here. Other than that, I thought this was pretty good. Let's see, a couple little mistakes, but nothing major. So overall, it's a good attempt. All right, go ahead and correct these. Let's see more work from you. And we'll be waiting, okay? Good luck.